Actualidad Radio 1040, una emisora de Actualidad Media Group.
Charlie Crist es el congresista del estado de Florida, que nos representa una porción importante del estado en la capital de la nación. Es también el exgobernador del estado de Florida por el Partido Republicano y actualmente es un precandidato por el Partido Demócrata para la gobernación del estado. Nos acompaña a esta hora de la mañana. Congressman, thank you for being with us. Welcome.
Juan Camillo, it's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. Let's start with Governor DeSantis. This week, Ron DeSantis proposed the Stop Woke Act. This would allow parents to sue schools teaching critical race theory in the classroom. What do you think about this?
Well, I find it interesting, Juan, because critical race theory is not taught in our schools. And the Board of Education came to that conclusion this past summer. Probably pretty much at the direction of Governor DeSantis. So I really don't understand why we're attacking something that doesn't exist in our schools at present.
Dice, le preguntamos que el gobernador DeSantis había propuesto un proyecto de ley de Stop Woke y que va a permitirles a los padres demandar a las escuelas que enseñen el Critical Race Theory en las clases. Le preguntamos qué piensa de eso y nos dice que es interesante porque no enseñan en este momento CRT, el Critical Race Theory, en las escuelas, y es algo a lo que llegó la Junta Escolar como conclusión recientemente, entonces no entiende por qué. But should the history teachers in the state of Florida teach their classes through the lens of racial injustice or not? What do you think?
Well, I think that history, as it is taught in Florida, should be factual. And talk about what has happened in history. You know, there's an old expression, those who don't know history may be doomed to repeat it. And so I think it's important to learn the lessons of the past and teach factual history in all our schools.
Y le preguntamos, bueno, pero si no existe, ¿estaría usted de acuerdo con los profesores de historia que enseñen sus clases a través del lente de la injusticia racial o no? Y dice que la historia lo que nos enseña es que en Florida debemos enseñar basados en hechos, porque hay un dicho que dice que los que no conocen su historia están condenados a repetirla, y por eso debemos aprender basados en esto. Congressman, do you think critical race theory is a problem in Florida or not?
Well, I don't think so. So it's not even being taught in our schools, and that's what's strange about what Governor DeSantis is doing. You know, I think he protests too much. So I don't really understand why he's saying that, you know, this is something that we will not teach. We're already not teaching it. We should teach facts, however, as I said before, and we should teach about, you know, slavery in our past and learn from that so that we don't repeat that mistake.
Nos dice cuando le preguntamos si es un problema o no el Critical Race Theory en Florida, que él cree que no, porque no se enseña. Cree que el gobernador DeSantis protesta mucho, pero sí debemos hablar sobre esclavitud y sobre nuestro pasado. Congressman, let's talk a little bit about COVID, because we are seeing, again, long lines in the testing facilities. And with this Omicron variant now present in the state, of course, you recently demanded Governor DeSantis to take action. What action? What should Governor DeSantis do?
I think he should, number one, listen to qualified, respected scientists in the field of public health and make sure that people are being vaccinated, that they're getting their second vaccine, and they're getting boosters. The recipe here is pretty simple. And why he doesn't advocate it, I don't understand. But it seems to me that get vaccinated, get a mask, and be able to get on with your life. But he doesn't advocate these simple things that the most respected scientists in the country advise be done. And it's very concerning with this new Omicron variant.
Le preguntamos, bueno, ahora con la variante Omicron y las largas filas que estamos viendo, él le pidió al gobernador DeSantis que tomara acción. ¿Qué es lo que quiere que haga el gobernador DeSantis? Y dice que debería escuchar a los científicos en el campo de la salud y a los expertos y recomendar que la gente se vacune, que reciba el booster, y no sabe por qué no lo hace. No entiende por qué el gobernador DeSantis no defiende estos temas. Congressman, yesterday you urged DeSantis to take action on protecting Florida from a potential Omicron wave. what do you mean an Omicron wave? Because we know that it's more aggressive in contagious, but it's not worse because we don't see a lot of people going to the hospital. We don't see a lot of people dying. I mean, more people can get COVID with Omicron, but it's not as bad as it looks, isn't it?
Well, it appears from early studies out of South Africa that probably it's not as serious, but I don't think we have a definitive conclusion yet. What we do know is what you said, Juan, that it spreads very rapidly, more rapidly than any variant we've seen so far. What that can do is overrun our healthcare system, eventually overrunning our hospitals and our healthcare professionals and stressing them again at a very serious point.
Le preguntamos, bueno, pero Omicron no parece ser tan grave. Si la gente se contagia mucho más, es cierto, pero la gente no se está complicando más, no se está yendo al hospital, no se están muriendo más. Y nos dice que es cierto que hay estudios preliminares que salen de Sudáfrica que dicen que no parece ser tan seria, pero no tenemos estudios definitivos. Es cierto que se contagia más rápido, pero lo que podemos hacer es evitar que nuestros hospitales terminen colapsando. Congressman, what would you do different if you were governor? Because you already tried to be governor a few years back, but if you were governor today, during the pandemic, what would you have done differently?
Well, I would have listened to people that are healthcare professionals, that are scientists, that are respected in keeping us safe from this variant and this pandemic as much as possible, number one. Number two, I would be barnstorming the state, encouraging, instead of addressing, something that doesn't exist in our school system as he did this week, something that does exist in our state, the pandemic, and urge people to get vaccinated, urge people to wear a mask indoors, and make sure that we're getting boosters because that's a additional defense against the new Omicron variant that would help people, particularly seniors and the disabled.
Y le preguntamos, ¿y si hubiera sido usted el gobernador durante esta pandemia, qué hubiera hecho diferente? Y dice que hubiera escuchado a los profesionales, a los científicos, que nos aseguran de las formas en que estaremos seguros y que en vez de enfocarse en algo que no existe, como el Critical Race Theory se refiere, que es en lo que se enfocó esta semana, algo que sí existe, que son las vacunas, las máscaras, los boosters, etc. Congressman, you've asked for the resignation of Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo because he refused to wear a mask on Senator Tina Polsky's office. But right before Omicron, the COVID numbers in Florida were actually really good. They were down. Do you think he's doing a good job, or do you still think he should quit?
I think he should quit. I mean, the notion that a physician would not respect the wishes of Senator Polsky when she was suffering and fighting cancer right now, and simply wear a mask in her office, in her presence, to keep her safe and from getting sick is unconscionable. I can't imagine how any respected physician would not respect the wishes of her.
Le preguntamos estamos hablando con Charlie Crist. Él es el precandidato por los demócratas a la gobernación del estado de Florida. Y él había dicho recientemente que el cirujano general del estado, Joseph Ladapo, debería renunciar porque en algún momento no quiso ponerse una máscara cuando fue a visitar la oficina de la senadora Tina Polsky y la senadora se lo pidió. Pero la verdad los números del COVID no están tan mal, o no estaban hasta hace muy poco cuando llegó la variante Omicron. Si debería renunciar o no, ya que parecía que estaba haciendo un buen trabajo, fue lo que le preguntamos. Dice que sí debe renunciar, porque la noción de que un fisiatra no respetara la posición de la senadora que estaba en ese momento peleando contra el cáncer es inconsciente. Y él no puede creer que eso pueda pasar, que un fisiatra, un doctor, no respete una posición como esa. Congressman, what about the monoclonal antibody therapy that Governor DeSantis has been promoting? Those can prevent severe illness, hospitalization, and death in high-risk patients who have contracted or been exposed to COVID-19. Do you think Governor DeSantis is doing a good job with this, with the monoclonal antibody therapy?
No, that's fine to recommend medicine after you've already gotten sick. But as they usually say in medicine, prevention is the best way to handle it. And preventing it, we can do. We have this miracle vaccine available. So get vaccinated. We know that wearing masks indoors helps protect people even more, yet he won't advocate that. I think it would be much better to advocate prevention, getting the vaccine, wearing masks indoors. But if you do get sick afterwards, of course you want to take medicine for it.
Le preguntamos por la terapia de anticuerpos monoclonales, porque el gobernador de Santis la promueve mucho y está comprobado que reduce la enfermedad, la hospitalización, los riesgos de muerte en los pacientes que han contraído el COVID-19. Y le preguntamos si el gobernador ha hecho un buen trabajo en esta promoción de esto. Y dice que sí, que está bien recomendar medicina cuando estás enfermo. Pero la idea es prevenir. Y tenemos una vacuna que él dice que es milagrosa y que tenemos que usar la máscara, y hay un montón de mecanismos que el gobernador no está fomentando. Congressman, let's talk about other topics. Do you think Florida is already a red state? Because for the first time in 2 decades, a candidate won the presidency without Florida. Are we already a Republican state?
I don't think so, Juan. I think that we are a purple state. When you look at the registration numbers, they're about even. And you have to factor in the no party affiliation too, or independent voters, if you will. One of the rising and fastest rising segments of our registrations in Florida. So I think Florida is a purple state. As you know, in the last gubernatorial election, Governor DeSantis only won by 0.4% in that election. So elections here are very close, and I think they will continue to be.
Dice que le preguntamos si Florida es ya un estado formalmente republicano, y dice que no, que somos más bien morado, que cuando uno mira el registro de los votantes así lo ve, y los independientes también. Nos recuerda que incluso DeSantis ganó por solamente 0.4%. But you mentioned the register. It's already proven that Republicans are now have no more voters registered than Democrats. What is happening with the Democratic Party in Florida?
Well, you know, we have new leadership now. We have a new chairman for the Florida Democratic Party, Manny Diaz. Manny Diaz of Miami himself, in fact, a former mayor of Miami and a Cuban American. I think that's going to help us enormously get back more registrations. The Florida Democratic Party under Chairman Diaz's leadership is already focused on that, and I think that's a very positive going forward.
Le preguntamos, pero bueno, por primera vez hay más republicanos que demócratas registrados en Florida. Eso debería decir algo. Y dice que tenemos un nuevo liderazgo en Manny Díaz, que es el exalcalde de Miami, y él va a ayudarles con los registros. Another issue that Democrats have right now, it's money. It's campaign contributions. When we put together your campaign contributions with Senator Tadeo and with Nikki Fried's contributions, you don't get even close to Ron DeSantis' contributions. What is happening that you can't find enough money?
Well, you got to remember that Governor DeSantis has been raising money for almost 4 years now. You know, we just announced this year for this race. So we're just getting started, but we're off to a good start. You know, my campaign has raised over $5 million. I'm very proud of that. But it's about more than money. It's about people, too, and what people think and how they feel. And it's good to have money to be able to get a message out. We'll have enough to get our message out when the time is at hand. So I feel good about where we're going to be and our opportunity to win.
Le preguntamos, bueno, pero ¿qué es lo que está pasando con la plata? Porque no están recaudando suficiente. Entre Aneta de Nikki Fried y él, sumados, no se acercan siquiera a lo que tiene DeSantis. Y dice que DeSantis lleva 4 años recaudando. Él también ya ha recaudado suficiente, $5 millones en su campaña, aunque la comenzó este mismo año. Pero no es solo de dinero, sino también de la gente y de cómo se siente la gente. Congressman, recently we found out that the FPL and other utility companies' leaders were behind the independent ghost candidates that tried to change elections in favor of Republicans in the state Senate. And, you know, it's been said that this is because the Senate has to confirm the government's appointees for the Florida Public Services Commission. Shouldn't it be better if we just have an elected commission and that's it?
That's not a bad idea, Juan Camillo. I think that, you know, I love democracy. And I think that, you know, individuals who are going to be public servants and serve on the Public Service Commission They used to be elected in Florida. You bring up a very valid point, and I think going back to that would not be a bad idea at all.
Could you fight for that?
Yes, of course. You could do that. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to leave you without asking you, because, of course, you're our former government, but you are now in Congress, and recently, this week, you voted in Washington to find Mark Meadows, the former chief of staff of the president, in contempt for refusal to cooperate with the investigation of January 6th. What do you think about the investigation and the way it's being developed?
I think it's going very well. This is one of the most serious topics facing our country. January 6th, the insurrection, the coup, if you will, led by the former president, which is unconscionable, is something that must be investigated. Each and every one of these texts that come out are explosive and important. We need to know the history in order to know what the appropriate consequences are. And Mr. Meadows violated his constitutional oath here.
Finally, and I will let you go after this one. Before Annette Tadeo announced her candidacy, we joked on this show about something. Last time you run with Annette Tadeo as your lieutenant governor. If she wins the primary, would you consider doing the same? Running with her as her lieutenant governor?
Well, that's a hypothetical question. Let me say this, though. I think the world of Annette. She's a wonderful person. That's why I picked her as a running mate when I ran before. We'll see what the people decide. The primary is next August. I just hope everybody gets registered and votes in our gubernatorial election. Es muy importante.
Thank you, Congressman, for being with us in Actualidad Radio.
It's my honor, Juan. Thank you, sir, and Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas to you too, sir. Bueno, para terminar ya estábamos hablando sobre algunos puntos muy breves. No queríamos despedirlo porque él es un congresista de los Estados Unidos y está en Washington. Acababa de votar esta misma semana para que Mark Meadows, el ex chief of staff del expresidente Donald Trump, fuera hallado en desacato por no cooperar con la investigación del 6 de enero. Le preguntamos por la investigación y dijo que va muy bien, que le parece que es terrible lo que ha pasado con la toma del Capitolio del expresidente Donald Trump, lo responsabilizó a él y dijo que debe ser investigado, que cada uno de los textos que se han enviado deben ser abordados. Le preguntamos también por el tema de... ¿Cuál fue la otra que le hicimos? Acá lo anoté. Bueno, sí, antes le habíamos preguntado por el tema de la FPL, y este es un tema bien importante. Se conoció que algunos de los altos ejecutivos de la FPL y de otras compañías de servicios públicos habían estado detrás de los candidatos independientes, los candidatos fantasma, que habían sido utilizados para ganar 3 contiendas en el estado a favor de los republicanos. Eso supuestamente, y se ha comentado mucho en varios programas, que podría ser por el hecho de que se necesita que el Senado apruebe los nominados del gobernador para la Comisión de Servicios Públicos del estado de Florida. ¿Eso no se resolvería si simplemente los miembros de la comisión son oficiales electos? Y que nosotros, así como elegimos gobernador, senador, representantes, senadores, escojamos a los miembros de la Comisión de Servicios Públicos. Dice que no le parece una mala idea, que él ama la democracia, que los individuos que son servidores públicos y llegan a sus puestos como oficiales electos tienen una mayor responsabilidad y que por eso nos dijo que va a pelear por ese tema. Y al final le preguntamos por Annette Tadeo, porque cuando él anunció la vez pasada que quería ser gobernador, había escogido a Annette Tadeo como su vicegobernadora. Y le preguntamos si haría al revés. En caso de que Annette Tadeo gane la primaria demócrata, si él se le sumaría como su vicegobernador. Y le dije que habíamos hecho como ese chiste acá al aire. Dijo que le parece que eso es un hipotético, pero que Annette Tadeo es fabulosa, por eso la escogió, y que veremos lo que dice la gente, que la gente será la que va a elegir en esa primaria.
Escuchas un audio de actualidadradio.com.